Welcome back. Today, I am joined by Supervisor Lisa Bartlett, who is here to give us updates and some great information about what's been going on. Well, Lisa, thank you for joining me today.
Always a pleasure to be here.
And you always have such great information. And of course, today is not any different. You've got some great things to share with us. So go right ahead.
Okay, so relative to the COVID-19 update, the various tiers and metrics, Orange County is currently still in the orange tier. 2 out of 3 of our metrics are in the yellow tier. So as soon as our case count per 100,000 reaches below 2, then we'll be able to move into the yellow tier. But we're also hoping that on June the 15th, that the tier system disappears and the state will be open at 100%. So our metrics are looking good for the county, and hopefully statewide, the metrics are going to continue to hold as well. We've now got more than 1 million individuals that have been vaccinated through Othina. So about 1.5 million people countywide have had at least 1 dose of vaccine. And we know we want to get to that herd immunity, so which means 70%. So with our population, that's about 2.24 million people. So with 1.5 million people having at least 1 dose of vaccine, that means we have to vaccinate about 740,000 more individuals. But now that we've opened it up to age 16 and above, we are vaccinating at our superpod sites. We're getting our mobile pods out into communities. And I'm happy to report that over 85% of the seniors in my district have been vaccinated. So that's a very good statistic. And I really want to thank the residents for doing such a great job. We could not have done that without the cooperation of everyone involved. So really a great milestone to reach. And I encourage those that have not been vaccinated to please do so. They can sign up at othena.com, OTHENA.com, or go through their healthcare provider or their pharmacy. We now have a number of locations that are convenient throughout the county where people can get vaccinated. And then again, just even when you get vaccinated, please continue to adhere to the health and safety protocols. Wear a face covering in public, maintain social distancing, and continue to practice good hygiene. And before we know it, our economy will get back on track. And we're all looking forward to that June 15th date as well.
Absolutely. Now, one thing that I've been sharing with our residents, it's called vaccinefinder.org. And that seems to be able to tell them where the vaccination is in stock at various grocery stores, as pharmacies, and things like that. And that seems to help. I wanted to ask you about Athena.com. How readily available are appointments?
You can get appointments now same day on Athena.com. So highly encourage everyone to log on to the website, and you can schedule your appointment the same day that you want to get vaccinated.
Great. That's good information. Okay, super. And you know, what's interesting is on the vaccination numbers, you know, I thought I had read somewhere that it was a little higher than that. Do you still have numbers that are still out there that you need to collect?
We do, because the numbers that we have are primarily through our Othena.com application.
Okay.
And there are still numbers coming in from our hospitals and from the pharmacies and so on, and they have to report up to the state before the county gets that information. So there's always a little bit of a lag. So we're probably doing much better than the 1.5 million that we have recorded, but we have to just basically give out information that we have on hand. But we hope that it's a lot higher based on all of these other entities that are currently vaccinating in the county.
Right, exactly. That's great. Good information. And like you said, everybody's been really on top of it. Now, in terms of testing, have they been scaling back some of the testing, or is it still pretty readily available?
We still have robust testing going on throughout the county. We are scaling back a little bit on our superpod sites, simply because we have so many people now that have been vaccinated. And we're now moving to a focus on the mobile pods. But our superpod sites at SoCa and the Anaheim Convention Center and the fairgrounds are still open, and I believe Santa Ana College as well. The Disney drive-through site is now closed because we vaccinated so many seniors, and those were mainly the individuals coming through that drive-through location. Right. But as far as vaccinations, there was a pause, as you know, on the J&J vaccine, but April the 29th, the county resumed administering pursuant to the CDC guidelines. And so now the county is offering the 3 different vaccines, Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson, and individuals can actually go online and make a selection of which vaccine they want when they register on the Othena application. So the healthcare agency closed the COVID-19 testing super sites at the OC Fair and Event Center and the Anaheim Convention Center, and that was done on April the 30th. We'll continue to make testing more accessible at no cost through more of the neighborhood sites as opposed to the superpod locations, and we'll continue to offer the at-home options that can be ordered online. So anyone who wants to get tested, you can contact our healthcare agency or even one of our board offices, and we can get you one of our mail-in kits at no charge that you can utilize for testing. So we recommend testing if anyone has any symptoms of COVID or if they've been exposed to anyone who's had COVID. And so for more information, people can go on to ochealthinfo.com/COVID test and get more information.
Have you heard about whether or not they're going to have the antibody testing?
We hope to have the antibody testing more readily available in the future, because the antibody testing is important if you've had COVID or if you think you've had COVID, to get the antibody test, because then it'll let you know with some certainty that you've probably had COVID and that you've built up some antibodies. And also we can utilize some of the antibodies for individuals that have COVID to make sure that they can get through the process a lot quicker and recover faster. So there's a whole host of things from a medical perspective where the antibodies are really critical for healthcare.
Okay, all right, that's great. That's great. Okay, so now the Nutrition Gap program. Tell me more about that.
So as we know, during COVID, food insecurity was a big thing, and it still is a big thing for people that have been laid off and families that are struggling. But for many of our seniors, and they did a tremendous job staying at home, and some of them are still hesitant to go out to the grocery store or to the pharmacy, etc. So we want to make sure that as we continue to pull through the COVID pandemic, that all of our seniors have access to good, nutritious meals. So we're going to be announcing the launching of round 2 of our Nutrition Gap program. And this will be for eligible District 5 residents. It'll be similar to the Nutrition Gap program that we launched last year. So we'll continue to address food insecurities caused by COVID-19 for seniors 55 plus, persons with disabilities, and other demographics as well. We're going to be utilizing $2 million of funding from the American Rescue Plan, and this will be coordinated through our Office on Aging. So stay tuned, more information will come. People can call our office to get more information. Check my newsletters on Friday. I email that out every Friday. It'll have information in there as well. And we'll try to get some informational flyers over to the Laguna Woods offices as well.
Oh, that's great. That is such a nice program. I mean, it's nice that we're still able to do that and continue to do so. So thank you for getting that coordinated.
You're welcome. And the meals are actually delivered right to their doorstep. So it makes it so convenient for our seniors that are still hesitant, or for whatever reason, they don't have transportation, or they just don't want to go out in public just yet. We're happy to get those meals delivered right to their doorstep.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Now, you guys had a senior summit. It was a virtual senior summit. How did it go?
It was fantastic. Just like some of the other virtual events, during times of COVID, we've had to adjust. And the in-person events, we just couldn't have, especially the big events like our senior summit, where in our last in-person senior summit, we had over 2,000 people in attendance. So with our virtual senior summit, we had a pre-recorded program featuring a panel of experts providing timely presentations related to our theme for this year's event, which was safe and healthy senior living in the age of COVID-19. So very appropriate. And some of the speakers included Dr. Clayton Chow, our healthcare officer, representatives from the Orange County Office on Aging, Agewell Senior Services, CalOptima, Saddleback College Emeritus Institute, and UCI Mind. And the program included presentations on the specific impacts of COVID-19 on the older adult population and how seniors can continue to live safely, healthy, and happily during these challenging and unprecedented times.
Oh, that's great. How long was the program?
The program itself was about an hour, and it was very well received. We're getting a lot of great feedback from the public that has been on to the website and has viewed the program. So I encourage everyone to take a look, and I know that Laguna Woods is no different in helping us out to make sure that seniors in Laguna Woods have an opportunity to see it as well.
Yep, we actually will be airing that right here on Village Television, and they can check their local listings to see what dates and times. So excellent. Well, I'm glad that worked out so well. That is great. You know, I mean, I tell you, if we didn't have Zoom, what would we have done? So good thing we have that. All right, now, very interesting. There was a Facebook Live discussion about what to do about the fuel and what was happening at the plant right down there near San Clemente. So can you give me an update on that?
Absolutely. So as we all know, the San Onofre Nuclear Generating Station, or SONGS as we know it, is in the process of getting decommissioned. And it's been in the process literally for decades. So we've had various groups from time to time that have been pushing at all levels of government, local, state, and federal, to try to get the plant fully decommissioned, meaning we've got to get the spent fuel off site. And it hasn't been with great success, because we have 123 canisters of spent nuclear fuel on site in dry cask storage. So it's about time that we really have a major push to get the spent fuel moved off site. And so I am co-chairing a new coalition that is a very broad-based, well-funded coalition by the two counties, San Diego and Orange County, along with major stakeholders. It's called Action for Spent Fuel Solutions Now. And as I indicated, it's going to be a very strong, broad-based, well-funded coalition, and we're going to push at all levels of government, the local, state, and federal level. The co-chair is San Diego County Supervisor Jim Desmond, and we are going to be formulating a major coalition to push the federal government to actually go ahead and provide that offsite storage and also the permanent repository for the spent nuclear fuel at SONGS. We need enabling legislation, so we need our legislators to help us in Washington, D.C. And the legislation will help us get the funding and allow us to use both private and public consent-based locations for offsite storage. So we have a major push at the federal level relative to trying to make this happen. And the legislation is important, funding is important because it's expensive to move. Right. And also the general administrative policies to advancing the consolidated interim storage and also a permanent repository are top of mind for all of the residents in the area. Because until we get this spent fuel moved off site, it poses a significant problem on a long-term basis. We have unique factors relative to our nuclear power plant that the other 14 plants that are getting decommissioned across the nation don't have. We have major population centers. Millions of people are residents around the nuclear power plant. We're in an earthquake zone. We have an active military base. We only have one highway through this area. So we should be raised to the top of the priority list to make sure that as the spent fuel gets moved off site, we are one of the top priority sites to make that happen.
Okay, so now if people do want more information about that, where do they go?
They can go onto the website for Action for Spent Fuel Solutions. Action for Spent Fuel Solutions Now.com, okay, and get more information. And we encourage everyone to basically put forth their time and effort into supporting the coalition, but also they can go online and join the coalition as a supporter. My colleagues on the Board of Supervisors unanimously supported a resolution at our last board meeting to work at all levels of government to get the spent fuel moved, which is so important for our residents. As we wrap up, I just want everyone to stay safe and healthy. We're getting through this COVID pandemic, and before we know it, our economy will be back to normal again. Memorial Day is also coming up, where we pay honor and tribute to all of our military personnel who have fought and died serving our great country. Continue to stay engaged. Sign up for my e-newsletter at www.Bartlett.com, and also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And if anyone ever wants to just pick up the phone and call with a question or to chat, my direct office number is 714-834-3550.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
And we'll be right back after this.